back to my channel. It's about time that we're gonna start the day. It's for my 13:30 live load appointment. So already got my coffee in. Actually quite nice a day. Nice enough for me to bring out my summer fabric sport coat and my attire. So we're about to do a quick walk around on the unit. Just kind of see where we at here. So as you can see, it's quite nice and warm. Well, pretty much you always want to make sure that it is still nice and tight and connected. But the profile is still good. That the handle to the fifth wheel is still in place for the in-lock position. No indication of any hub oil leaks. Mud flaps are still there where they're supposed to be. Landing gear is still good. No major damages on the trailer. I got the light test on, so I'm checking also in the intervals as it's going that all the lights are working. On the trailer, it's a bit of an old school system, so you gotta pull that handle to release the pins in order to slide the trailer across the rail to reposition your tandem in relation to the fifth wheel of the power unit. For weight distribution, as you can see, it's an older unit trailer, so it does show its signs. However, it does have the auto air system. Mud flaps. With this, I gotta see what I can do, because normally this is supposed to be behind there just like that. It's giving me a rough one a bit, so I gotta see what tricks I got up my sleeve to get that in there. It's an empty trailer, so that I'm taking to get loaded. Down here, always make sure you got your cross members all the way across. Nothing is cracking on the rusted and busted rail system down here. That your hoses and connections have a good play above the ground. Nothing is hanging too close, because that'd be a DOT issue at that point. This here is just declaration for airstream flow. Doesn't really have any DOT purpose. Tapes to be here. You see here's an older damage. Somebody hit it that way into it. Properly backed into it. That all still looks good. Also always check your airbags all around the equipment, that they properly inflated. If they deflated a bit or shown a ball somewhere or so, indication that they are busted. Got those loose. check what we got under the hood. And now we're gonna check what we got under the hood. For that, I'm taking my handy and dandy working gloves. I bought a new pair because they only last so long till they come across. You see, I'm opening it from the side instead from the front of the hood. Just easier that way. So it's a Cummins X15. I'm not sure what the specs is, how they have it set with the horsepower and torque. I just know they can go up to 450, 475, I believe, with these slope nose trucks in terms of horsepower. So not sure where they have it set at. So always good to look at your oil. You can see what the oil indication is. It tells you it has a max fill of 11 gallons. And that line right there, where the arrow is pointing to, is the max fill. So it looks good. I mean, I could have wiped it and plunged it back into it also to get an even more accurate reading. But if it's a little low, then it's not too low. Everything looks good here. On the electrical system, that everything is still connected, nothing is bare or fray. Those hose clamps are very important. Make sure they're still tight on the air coolant system. Also here for the hydraulic fluid. So it's here right now at the max cold, minimum hot, which is where you want to have it in cold condition. Go over again. The steers are okay, still all properly greased. That you have enough windshield washer fluid, which I do. Clamps here, clamps there, and here also with your coolant container. It's a little, I topped it a little bit off the other day, this one, because I had the low coolant sensor on, which were giving me a hot reading somewhere around here, so I went a little bit over the cold max when I topped it off, just to be safe, but not too much. All here still good. So looks good. Looks good. And I know already I wanted to adjust it a little bit, so which I just did. And now we close this again. Latch it back in place on both sides. And as I already had the trailer brake pushed in, released, to listen for any air leakage, as we walked around, I couldn't hear nothing. So it's all good. This is now my quick walk around inspection on this unit. So now I'm gonna send my signature in with the inspection sheet that shows that I walked around. Of course, I initially got myself on duty flagging pre-trip that I'm doing it. It shows automatically the trailer unit that I'm attached to it in the system. However, the with the GeoTap system, you always got an option to, through the signature forms, to do individual inspections, which puts you automatically into the on-duty pre-trip as well, or post-trip, in-trip, whichever you do. Yeah, now I got my navigation system already preset yesterday.
Please drive the
So,
highlighted route.
yeah, my ETA shows about an hour ahead of time for the pickup, which is most excellent. About to fire this truck up. And there, this Cummins is purring like a kitty cat. Little dust on the windshield. Get that off. So, yeah, I mean, here at night transportation, we always looking for safe, reliable professionals that, whether they, like myself, company driver, or choose to go on to the lease purchase program, or bringing their own power unit in it to be leased on with the company. I recommend everybody to always do a routine quick inspection on your vehicle, especially if you know the vehicle and know what you're actually looking for. Take and since this fleet has automatics only, from my understanding anyway, since I've been here, and that's since last year, November, so not even 3 months yet. But going on to it. I still have to get those. Gonna have to look at Amazon. They might have some tire chocks, so you can chock the drive tires of your power unit when you're doing your air brake check. Since it's an automatic, you know the game, you have to release the brakes for power unit and trailers. You're doing that check. With a manual, it's so much easier. You just, pop the gear in and it won't move anywhere. So here to properly do it, you have to chock those tires. That way the unit stays in place and you can securely, safely do it without having to worry about the unit might start rolling in either direction, either to the back or to the front, just for safety purposes. And what I recommend everybody doing that is coming on with this carrier, is to have your own brokerage account. That's just my personal opinion. Via that way you can purchase ownership in terms of shares and increments to that carrier, which in turn you're gonna get two things out of it: growth and dividends. What I do is I keep my dividends reinvested. That builds the overall position in half the time that I'm looking for. And I have it actually in my Roth IRA, along with other businesses that I own shares with. Yeah. Is there a way to build wealth? Being an over-the-road driver, regional driver, local driver in the transportation industry. If you do it right and you got the discipline in terms of every time you're getting paid to allocate funds first to like your brokerage accounts for the investments, and other set portion into your high yield savings accounts for liquidity funds if needed, so you don't have to sell any positions in your wealth generating accounts, because the high yield savings accounts from any bank will in the long run be eaten up by deflation. That's just how it is, because the banks get the higher portion of the interest on the balance sheets. That's how you conduct business. So high yield savings accounts are having two purposes. One, to understand it is a short-term,
turn right on TV Road, then
to
take the first left.
gold-term savings,
Turn left on I-95 North.
and two, to have a strategy along with it, to know exactly what you're putting that money away for and when and how to use it. That is how you build financial freedom. Anybody that wants to go into a lease purchase program with these used company equipment, I don't have too much intel on it yet, in terms of how the equipment actually is being maintained till it gets sold off. It will take me a little longer to be here to get the hang of the maintenance schedules and all of that. But you do kind of have respect here, and that is one of the things that I've been looking for in all my careers of
Take exit 164 on the right
working
to US
in the
50
industry
East.
on the front lines, with the majority pulling reefer units. For a little while I pulled flatbeds, and now I'm here on driving because I wanted a change. It's different, you know, customer clientele based. You don't sit as long as you do on reefers, especially with produce loads. When they're breaking the stuff down, there ain't no lumber fees involved with it. So it pays a little less than reefer in the industry. However, that difference you can make up by the overall mileage you're willing to run and operate. So no problems with it. For the moment I'm running a little bit relaxed. Not every week I'm getting the 2500 that I requested, but on the other hand, I'm still making money, which before I even get the money I already told the money what to do with itself, and not the other way around. tradition. My heritage goes all the way back to the 11th century. And my family forefathers they came first to the United States in the early 17th century and spread from there. So originated from
Take exit
Holy Roman
164 on the
Empire
right to US 52 East.
and spread from there into France and the United Kingdom, even with bits into Scotland. So somehow my heavy is acting a bit weird.
In 1/4 mile, keep left to
Wade's
US
turning me
52
around
East,
here.
then take the
Should have
first
known
left.
there was other end. Oh well, no big deal.
Keep left to US 52 East, then take the first
Anyhow,
left.
now
Turn
with
left at
the
the traffic
new
light, then take the second left.
FMCSA, I believe what they call the Lease Task Force. That is pretty much something they did to, or building,
Turn left at the traffic light.
to fight against predatory practices when it comes to lease purchase. I mean, in my career, I made those mistakes too, that I went to a carrier, actually 3 carriers in my career, lease purchase programs that ended up being predatory in terms of when it got closer to payoff, they took the vehicle just flat out away from you, and there was nothing you could do because you didn't get the whole contract to begin with. You just signed electronically some forms, then you didn't even have a chance to read it. So yeah, I mean, it's a lesson learned and experience gained. So hence, I personally, maybe a tougher route getting there for many, because it will take much more upfront finances, but to build up your credit and everything you need in order to just go to dealership and order the power unit that you want, make, model, year, and anything else it might have attached with it, you know? So there are ways of still running a business. Like I said, I do have my LLC, my EIN business, which I put temporarily on hold as I'm preparing myself
Continue on I-95.
and building the equipment purchase funds in the background. So it depends on where you go. Like myself, prefer the long nose 18-speed Peterbilts, followed by the W900s with big diesel under the hood, decked out and chrome and chicken lights and all of that, with the chrome gauge package, chrome light switch packages, with coming with an installed refrigerator, APU, power inverter, like a super single bunk bed, and like a strategic kind of model storage. Does it cost an arm and a leg? Yes, it will. It's an investment, but it's gonna pay off in the long run, because once I have my business built, I'm gonna run and operate it for further relationships, maybe 10 years past that. And then at that point, I shall have established myself so far that I easily could hire professional drivers that would keep operating my vehicle. And it wouldn't be too hard to find professional drivers wanting to drive in such a truck. I mean, it's like most drivers' dream to operate such truck. The initial investment for me will be about somewhere between 450 to 550K just on purchasing a brand spanking new power unit the way I want to. The vehicle that I'm operating right now, this company equipment, trucks like that is with APU, built-in refrigerator, and these auto transmissions from the dealership with interest, it should not cost more than 250K. Brand new. This is now the International. So you have to know the numbers, you have to know how to get there where you want to be, and you have the discipline to get it done. It's not no rocket science. The problem is that most of us out here have the mindset, well, I've been running so hard, I've been hard earning that money, so I'm entitled to, after my bills, or in most incidents even before the bills, to spend that money on the lifestyle that I want now. That is how all will always be struggling, be always paying more than they earn, and with the help of credit cards. People just have to wake up, be smart, and understand the value of delayed gratification. You know, it takes one to break a cycle of bad habits and then to pass on the knowledge gained, the experiences made. Pass it on down the line to your heirs. I mean, let's face it. The founders of this company have everything set up strategically and smart with hard work up front. Nothing been handed just on a spoon. So it takes the knowledge, the education, it takes the discipline, and the strategy to know exactly what you want in life. That's all there is to it. So, of course, the trucking industry or transportation industry, global supply chain operations, it is a volatile market. Everything is determined by supply and demand. So that is how this global economy is run: supply and demand, which determines the tariffs on the product, especially if it's international. So there's plenty of money to be made out in this market for everybody and anybody. But this business, particularly, you got to be really smart and really wise on how you set yourself up for success. Because if you do direct shipper relationships down the road, you know, you have your own power unit, you lease in a trailer, or you bought a trailer, whichever it may be, own authority, all that stuff, and do direct shipper relations, you cannot always get paid right in the instant you finalize that load. It doesn't work that way. Some of them pay you in 30 days from the time you delivered. Others is 90 days. Then others is over 100 days, like 120 days or so. Or you don't see that money for that run that you did. Then you have the route with brokerage. There are brokerages out there. Of course, they get the bigger chunk out of what, you know, the direct shipping load pays to them. They forward that to you. That's how that goes in that chain. There are some like TLG, I want to say it is, if I remember correct, that pay you the same day you finalize their load. So this industry is all about numbers, and to be smart about it. That's on the bottom line. I mean, for all of those that have like huge overhead to begin with, in terms of, you know, high credit debt they're struggling to pay off, vehicle payments, which is just liability, you know, whether it's Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Rolls-Royce, Lamborghini, whatever it is. It's just liability. It means transportation does not bring you any income like semi will do. That's gonna bring you income. That's why it's an asset. Even how I like to have my truck, with a higher upfront cost, but I'm gonna make that money back. So all good. And of course, patience and a strategy does always pay off in the long run. I know where I'm coming from, I know where I've been. So, the global economy system is based on consumerism. I mean, that is how the educated 1% make a big chunk profit, while the 99% that is uneducated is going to become automatically poorer, more struggling, this, that, and the other, more frustrated, depressed, whatever happened. So, and the way to get around all of that is just be smart with the funds that you're earning. You know, whether you a minimum wage employee, flipping burgers at McDonald's per se, or a security guard for a security company or something, you know. Always take whatever little you can to whatever max and lay it aside, and that what you lay aside you can split again once more in half. With one half you build your high yield savings. The other half of it you have transferred into a brokerage account and start investing, buying positions in companies. You know, you can invest in the S&P 500, ticker symbol VOO from the Vanguard, for example. Which everything that you invest in there builds over time, and that automatically allocates and buying positions in all the companies, which are the top 500 in the US market, where you buying ownership with, which means you're gonna get growth and you're gonna get dividends. And it does take time, so if you're willing to sacrifice your one-halves now, and the money that you would spend on your one-halves now, instead invest and stick with it for a minimum of consistent 10 years, the same amount. As you reinvest the dividends that it will pay up at a certain point, that is going to double your wealth building in terms of cutting it in half where you want to be. So it's just like one of the most greatest investors once said, it's not how much of what you make you invest and keep, therefore it is also the time in the market which makes the difference. I personally do not look at companies' ownership share price. You know, whether they're down a little bit, up, sideways, don't make no difference to me. I just know what I'm getting out of it in the long term. You know, it's a win-win situation. That's how it is. well in advance. There are other ways to go about it too. You can also, as you keep, putting funds away, sign up for the lease purchase program on a used equipment, company equipment. May not be really the truck that you like, with the transmission that you like and all of that. Just know if you stick with it, with that plan, and be smart about your downtimes and all of that, which the downtimes you still have the running costs weekly instead of monthly, which your dealership would be. Let's see what's up ahead. Yeah, I mean, it all has its individual pros and cons to it. Anything in life. Can there be lease purchase programs that are not predatory? They're probably out there. Will you earn more than being a company driver after your operational costs? It may look like it at first, but you have to keep in mind that the funds that you get after operational cost is your true gross. In other words, out of that you have to take funds laid aside for your taxation purposes. If you're living in a state like myself, I gotta not only pay federal, I also gotta pay state taxes. I know Trump's planned proposal about eliminating all income taxes on all W-2 wages, 1099 wages, I suppose, as well, would fall under income. So I don't know how that's going to go, whether it's going to get approved by the Congress, by the Senate, and all of that, or whatnot. Too early to tell what will happen in that spectrum. So, we shall see, but as for now, I am still staying prepared for paying taxes, even as a company driver, which automatic taxes are taken out of, but it is in regards to future power unit purchase. Now if you're doing a lease program, I mean, then it's optional if you yourself gonna set up maintenance account, or if you use the maintenance account from the company, depending on where you're going to. Either way, now here I noticed some of the lease trucks that are, I've seen them out on the road. It doesn't have the company name itself on the side doors no more, as these company trucks do, and it has like lower at some other place, whether it's a sleeper space or on the lowest skirting of the truck around there. does have then a section where it got remarked, where it says leased to night transportation. So with that being said, it would be the same thing as bringing your very own power unit from the outside in, leased to, in that case. So which means if you as myself have already a business in place, should be able to have your business name put onto the side of the door on your truck, and maybe some other alterations to it within limits until you got the title to that equipment. Once you have the title to that equipment, you can do whatever it is you like to do with it. You know, so but you have to be aware mentally that whether you're doing a lease purchase or purchasing a truck from a dealership, I look at it at this way. It's not guaranteed income, it's guaranteed expenses. So, with that being said, you have to have those funds that you always can not only pay the taxes that you own, just like that, but also your general living cost, and any other cost that you might have without breaking a sweat. And that is the meaning of being smart with your funds, knowing where you want to be, knowing how to get there, and sticking with it, just sticking with that plan, you know. I mean, even out here as a company driver, yeah, granted, I came in on the max out pay scale. Looking at the national average, it is somewhere, just what it says, average for a company driver, but it is on the higher end of the average, because the yearly average is from 30,000 to 60,000. I'm like, from what I calculated with the miles that I'm running, what I'm getting paid, somewhere around 53,000. So that is not post-tax. It's not pre-tax. Guidance for you folks that are looking into the transportation industry in general, deciding where they want to go into and all that kind of stuff, where they want to start, what should you do, where do I want to be, all of that. It takes time to build reputation and earn money in this industry. Start out, just get your CDL, and you should do it over at night transportation, then just stick with it, roll with the flow. Live below your means, put money aside, don't touch that money, just let it watch grow. Eat less out. And make sure everything else is already set in your life. Then you're gonna watch over time as you gain more experience with that carrier and build more relations with that carrier, that you're gonna start earning more money. You know, keep building it, gain the experience. All of that, just stick with it. So, well, I know it's been a lengthy video now. I suppose I'm gonna see you folks on my next video on my channel. And so far, it is not bad running for night transportation. It is not bad. It keeps me busy. Even so, I'm running a bit more relaxed, which at my age bracket, nothing wrong with that. I yet have to decide whether I'm gonna sign up with the driver trainer program and get student drivers on the truck with me for a month to 6 weeks at a time.